In today's video, I'm going to be talking about an enemy within Bioshock Infinite that should have been utilized much more than in the final version of the game. There's two different points I'd like to make about these enemies in particular. Point number one, a lot of people who became handymen were actually lied to. And point number two, the sadness you can hear when they're alone is absolutely horrible. The enemies I'm alluding to, of course, are the Handymen of Columbia. Without any further delay, would you kindly sit back, relax, and enjoy the story of the Handyman. In Columbia, the Handyman was half machine and half man, just like the big daddies of Rapture. Please keep this fact in the back of your mind as we move forward within this video. The overall mechanized form for the Handyman was created by a company called Betterman's Auto Bodies. Their intention was to, quote, help the disabled, severely injured, or sickly citizens of the miraculous city of Columbia to not only become healthy individuals, but to take back their liveliness and to be able to live forever, end quote. That sounds absolutely terrifying and, quite frankly, way too good to be true. Obviously, however, this miracle would soon run into some drastic problems. Firstly, the operation to transform a person into a handyman had tremendous difficulties. For example, the individual receiving this operation would have to live with an extremely disproportionate body shape and had a multitude of side effects. In the gameplay in the background, you'll be observing a handyman at Columbia's annual raffle and fair, where he seems to be fearful and extremely uncomfortable around the staring crowd and due to the flash of the camera. We can take quotes from these handymen during combat, which shows that they're in tremendous pain during conflicts and that they cannot properly rest or sleep. As I mentioned before, this, quote, miracle was actually more of a curse. There were a list of side effects that would affect the person within this auto body, including intense physical pain, mental stress, mental breakdowns, fits of psychotic rage, and much more. Now, going back to when I initially compared the Handyman and the Big Daddies, if you remember, of course, both the Handyman and the Big Daddy are both forcefully and artificially bonded with a mechanical suit against their will. Unfortunately, that's where the resemblances and the characteristics end between the two, as the Handyman exhibits more human-like features such as a face, arms, other body parts, and his heart, which is obviously the weakest part of the body and his auto body. A multitude of mechanical cables connect from the handyman's shoulders to a pair of conductors that are located on their back. This allows a handyman to be able to use electricity as both a weapon and as a defensive attack, which is pretty badass if I do say so myself. On top of them being able to wield electricity as a weapon, they have other amazing and powerful characteristics as well. For example, they're incredibly strong, they have the ability of free will, unlike most Big Daddies and other enemies you encounter within the Bioshock series. They're extremely talented when it comes to combat. They can expertly use the environment to their advantage during a fight. And my personal two favorites. They can throw the player if the player decides to try and give the handyman a hug. Aw, how adorable. And secondly, the quickness that the handyman exhibits to be able to close a gap between themselves and you, the player, is absolutely outstanding. Picture this. Can you imagine either a spider or a plaster splicer being able to close a gap that quickly to Jack? No, thank you. No, thank you. So before I go into the final two parts of this video, since they are quite short, I just wanted to preface it by saying this. Obviously, I enjoy the Handyman a lot. The idea of this being an enemy that would actually chase you around is incredible on paper. However, the overall execution of it in-game, I felt was a little lackluster personally. And since I enjoy making lore videos on characters like this, it doesn't help when there's not a lot of backstory or lore or a lot of information about a specific character. For example, when I was researching to write this script, I was looking through multiple different things multiple different websites, articles, subreddits, etc. And not a lot of information was gathered. There were a lot of things like guides as to how to beat the Handyman, or Handyman spawn locations, or Handyman crit spots, or the best vigors, or anything like that to use towards the Handyman. So I do apologize if this video is a little bit shorter than my normal lore videos, but keep in mind, not too much information was shared with us about the Handyman, and it's honestly kind of a shame. So again, I'm so sorry. I wish I could have made more in-depth videos, or a more in-depth video about the Handyman, or even anything else in regards to the Handyman. So I apologize, but let's get into the final two parts here. Next, let's move on to Burial at Sea Episode 2. I'll briefly speak about the Handyman scene within Bioshock Infinite Burial at Sea Episode 2. There isn't too much here, unfortunately, but I still thought it was worth mentioning. While observing a tear to Columbia, Dr. Suchong, who was in Rapture, was able to actually observe a Handyman for himself. Also, during Elizabeth's quest to find the hair sample for Suchong, she has to return to Columbia, obviously, where she can find an incompleted Handyman and the person next to it within the surgical suite. Man, Suchong is an absolute bastard. What a fucking asshole. Sorry. And then finally, while returning to the tear leading back to Rapture, Elizabeth can come across the Vox Populi dedicated Handyman that both her and Booker killed during the original Columbia and the original events of Bioshock Infinite, right outside of Jeremiah Fink's doors. Now the final bit of this video is something that may or may not pull on your heartstrings, and it has to do with a Handyman, but it's not significant to the story of Infinite or Burial at Sea. I wanted to throw this in there to get your guys' opinions on this. So, in memory of Samuel Gerst. I know this doesn't have to do with the main story of Infinite or the episodes of Burial at Sea, as I mentioned, but this Handyman and his wife's final voxophone to him really pulls on the heartstrings. I wanted to share this with you just for the simple fact that there's so many tragic side stories within video games that people seem to actually gloss over, and this happens to be one of them. If you'd like to check out the videos that this is from, or any specific video in terms of emotional moments, they'll be provided down in the description below. I'd greatly appreciate it if you were to check them out and let me know what you think. They're really well done and very well put together videos. Without further delay, here we go.
Say cheese! Cheese! Okay, for this one, give a thumbs up. Hilarious! Ah, that's a great shot. One more. For this one, everyone look really sad. Like you're having the worst all time.
Samuel, when the spells of anger come, I want you to play this recording and remember that I am the proudest woman in Columbia to have been your wife. They said your soul was choked by the fumes in that metal box, but this I do not believe. And we shall meet again on that eternal shore. Both of us whole and smiling. I love you. I love you. I love you.
So ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the story of the Handyman. If you're interested in reading the rough draft of the script, or checking out any of the sources that were used to create this script, they'll be provided for you in the description below. Keep in mind, for the script, it is a rough draft, so there might be a couple of typos, but that's okay, you guys ended up hearing the finished product. If you guys did enjoy it, would you kindly drop a like? If not, you can dislike it. Hopefully you can tell me what I can do to make the video better for you guys. If you're new here and enjoy the content and want to see more, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications to never miss a video or a live stream, and feel free to follow me on my social medias or join my Discord. Things like my Twitter, my Instagram, my Discord, and also my Facebook page are down in the description below if you guys are interested. Anyways, a couple of videos will be popping up on screen now, and if you guys have any suggestions as to which character I should do the next lore video on, please let me know down in the comment section below. I think, personally, I want to do one on Sophia Lamb. If that interests you guys, again, let me know down in the comment section below. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the tremendous amount of recent support. It really does mean a lot. And with that being said, I will talk to you all at a later time. Take care.